Hello everybody, I hope you're staying positive and doing well. I'd like to show you something. It's a match that I've just lit to remind us that Jesus is the light of the world, and that's a key message of the whole gospel, and that we are to be the light of the world on his behalf and not to hide our light. But that's not the main thing I want to talk about today. The main thing is I want to read from the book of James chapter 1 about God who is the Father of the heavenly lights. It says, "Don't be deceived, my dear brothers and sisters. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows." Now, if you think about the heavenly lights, that means the sun and all the stars, and just take the sun first of all, how much heat and light it gives, and how much creative power there needed to be to create that energy. The sun alone is a display of God's amazing creative power. But then you think about all the stars as well, and all the heat and light that they give, and the creative power that was needed from God to make them. It just makes us realize how enormous and how awesome he is. And he's full of goodness, because every good and perfect gift comes from him. So we mustn't be deceived. It's interesting that it says that, because if you think that you're going to get the good things from life elsewhere, then that's part of the deception. And if you think that the things you've received from God are not the good and perfect gift, then you're also being deceived. And it's also important to remember that God does not change like shifting shadows. So it might feel at times that the world is a darker or a lighter place, but God is unchanging in that goodness. And it might feel at times as if we're in the shadows in our lives, that we're going through hard times, but God is unchanging in his goodness. Now let me show you something else about a match. The match is made to burn. It's got potential to burn and to be lit with the flame of God, which is the fire of God. Now, if you think about the match, it can't be lit against some kind of plastic surface. It has to be lit against the right thing to be lit. Now, the plastic surface we can imagine as being some kind of transparent, artificial purpose in life, which isn't really going to give us fulfillment. So there's no point chasing after the wrong things in our lives, because that won't give us the true fulfillment. So let's imagine for a moment that this match is an illustration of what you look like before you were a Christian, or if you're not a Christian watching it, this is sort of an illustration of how you have the potential to burn with the fire of God. Now, the gospel is a little bit of a rougher surface than the plastic. It's designed to be challenging. And the reason it's challenging is because we're called to give up our whole lives. And that's the most beautiful thing we can do, because then we will burn with the light of God, and we will be beautiful in eternity through doing so. And it's the most beautiful thing we could do with our lives, and the most fulfilling. But it's no good chasing after the plastic instead. Now, when we apply the gospel, it has to be applied in the right way. So there's no point trying to light the match from the wrong end. But if we can be challenged by the gospel and get it, we'll be lit with the fire of God. Now, have you ever done that thing where you try to light a match and it won't light? Well, don't worry if that happens, because basically some people don't get the gospel first time. But it is the true gospel is what brings us to life. And then, once you're lit, the reason that you exist with that light is to light other things and pass on the light, not just to stand there looking pretty and admiring yourself, but to find ways to pass on the light and to shine the light we've been given, so that we can point back to the Father. Because all light points back to God ultimately. He is the Father of lights.